How about that?
Well, on the other side, I want you to flesh out this stockbroker thing, because in the LA Times article, well, let's read the quote. I would do really well with clients, and then they would turn around and totally ignore everything I say because some snake oil salesman would say, "You need an insurance bond." I realized the only thing of any value was making people laugh, and that's where I could be most effective. We'll be back after this. We're with Sheldon Anderson, myspace.com/IamSheldon. It's the InfoWarrior, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com. We are back. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, and we're on the line with comedian Sheldon Anderson. So, Sheldon, you study abroad. What brings you into becoming a stockbroker? What's the next step? I mean, you find out that it's all corrupt, but you're like, let's get into the industry anyway.
No, I dated a woman who was hyper rich, and I had to keep up with her. That's what really got me in. Seriously, we were flying around on her daddy's private jet, and I just had to pay for like the tip.
Oh, my God. So what's the father hooks you up, basically, brings you into the family business, something like that?
No, the girl yells at me enough to where she's like, "You better get a job or I'm out of here." And then I go, "Well, I better get a job or she's out of here." And then I get a job, and it's at UBS in Beverly Hills. And then I work there for 18, 19 months, and I study and I take a look at the system. And then you know who the smartest people if you ever want a financial advisor who's smart, get a dude from the Middle East. Because they already know they've been screwed for thousands of years, so they're like, it looks like this is totally the wrong thing to put your money into at this moment. They know. Those are the smartest guys. And so I would watch, the reality is there's no free market.
Uh-huh.
You know it, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, let's look at the oil market. I mean, I talk to people about this all the time. They're like, well, how do we get ahead of the market? I'm like, well, let's look at the oil prices. It was about $150-some a barrel, and then it went down to 34. Did you stop driving?
No, I don't think anybody stopped driving.
No. Did you stop heating your cars? No. Did you stop airplanes? No. I mean, we're consuming the same amount. We consume about 25% of the world's resources. So if we didn't stop, the rest of the world didn't stop, and there's a certain supply and demand that's supposed to be. How is it that it went from 150 to 30? And then, people on the news for a while, at least, and I call it news. News is just a joke. Just turn it off. I mean, just turn it off. I turned it off. I turned off my TV for a year. I literally turned it off. After a year, I turned it back on to the news. It was like I didn't miss a beat. I mean, it could have been turned off in a year ago, and they would have been, today's day is 2, and I turned it off, and then a year later turned back on, it's Tuesday, and it's the same thing a year later. So there's no free market.
Uh-huh.
You know it, and I know it. So as a stockbroker, you're there going, well, wait a minute. If my life is just earning a percentage of the benefits that somebody else has earned, because that's what a stockbroker is, you just take a percentage of the money that other people have and then hope. I guess you just hope, because, otherwise and then you just watch the market go down.
It is kind of twisted, and that supply and demand thing, that's what I always try to explain to people. The way I explain it is, look, everybody was saying, oh, I don't mind, we're going to go into Iraq, it's going to be great, we're going to have gas for under $1, it's going to be because we were paying like $1.50. Everybody was saying that. I'm like, listen, if they go in there, it's going to double or triple in price. They're like, you're crazy, Bermas. I'm like, what don't you understand? When less people control more of the supply, they can demand whatever they want, and they're about to take over the second largest oil-rich nation in the world. You don't think they're just going to start demanding a higher price? Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. And then sure enough, it was 3, 4, hit 5 a couple times, and people would just be like, yeah, I guess you were right. And like you said, it's so artificial that they dropped it to below. When Lindsey Williams came on the show last summer, and I was hosting for Alex Jones, and Lindsey Williams got up here and said that it was going to drop to below $50 a barrel, I did not. I'm like, Lindsey, sounds nice. I don't buy it, buddy. But he was spot on, and this is the guy that tells you.
I love that guy, but he is one spooky preacher. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You know what I mean? I do
so
more
smart.
of it.
He's like, when I came on the Alex Jones show about 15 months ago, I told you the oil prices were going to fall, and they did. And you're like, and then I told you this happened, and it did. And I'm like, you are spooky, dude. Where is your church? Where is it?
Well, the thing was, I remember listening to him, back in the day when I'm first getting into this, and I don't know what to believe, and there's some people out there that have done good research, and they're talking about peak oil. It kind of makes sense. It's like, yeah, that could be real. Peak oil could be real. And then Lindsey Williams gets on, and he's like, no, I spent all this time with these elites. It's totally fake. There's oil everywhere. And and I'm like, was this guy for real? And I started looking into it. I'm like, all right, this guy is for real. But if you're not, a Christian, it does kind of come off as hokey. And
well, I am a Christian. I consider myself a Christian.
All right, then.
Because the reality is, I think Christian. I mean, I don't even know what. I mean, to me, there's an understanding in the universe that's beyond us. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand it. So
that's kind of the position I take
because of what your upbringing was. Well, I was raised in North Dakota. They're all Lutheran, so now I'm Lutheran. If I would have been raised in the Middle East, I would probably have been praying to Allah. I think it's the same thing. It's just different roads to the end.
Well, the only thing I know is that there's good and evil in the world, and if you spend your life,
I got wiretapped. Okay?
Oh, jeez.
I'm at home, and I'm watching the connection between Child Protection Services, the FBI, and pedophilia, right? There was this case out here in L.A. a long time ago where these kids were going home to their parents and saying things like, well, there was a guy in Cape, and we were in caves, and blah, blah, blah.
I want to talk about that on the other side. Is that the Ted Gunderson story by chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually interviewed Ted about that a couple years back. We're going to come back to Sheldon Anderson on the other side. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, prisonplan.tv, myspace.com/IamSheldon. Jason Bermas this April 3rd, 2009, soon to be April 4th, hopefully over a couple beers with Jacobson, the lead editor here over at InfoWars. I mean, he's working hard already on this Obama 2 film. By the way, Alex is going to be joining us at the top of the hour, but right now we're with Sheldon Anderson, the comedian. And Sheldon, so you go from, having a girlfriend who wants you to have, this like power job because of, her upbringing. Yeah, like you've got to work hard.
They all want us to have power jobs, Bermas.
Well, you know what? I hope not. I haven't had a serious relationship now in like over a year, thank God. And I just don't even care, I'm serious. I could care less, man. I'm just like, I could care less what you want at this point. I just want to do what I want to do. I want to get some sleep in and have some fun. If we can do that, we can get along. If you're going to get on me about my job or my lifestyle, I mean, right now I'm sleeping on...
Yeah, but you want to get on you.
I don't even have that problem. I sleep on an air mattress, man, and I do just fine. Anyway.
I love it. You get a little wavy there. You just knock them off anyways with the power. But anyways, we're back to, what was it, Ted? What's the boy Ted you were talking about? And I was watching this.
Ted Gunderson and the Franklin cover-up. And, have you ever seen Conspiracy of Silence?
Yes, I have.
When you watch that is just a jaw-dropper, an eye-opener. And supposedly, as the story goes, there's these kids out in Nebraska in these boys' homes that are basically being used as sex toys for the elite and drug mules. And you're just like, this is incredible. And then you see the amount of evidence and people actually losing lawsuits, $1 million lawsuits, and their connections to the Republican Party. Like the main guy in Nebraska was singing the national anthem at the Republican conventions in the 80s. And you're just like, are you kidding me? And he looks like the biggest creepo ever. His name is Larry
just
King.
Like that dude that was the head of the church out in Colorado Springs, the meth head that was pumping dudes. Well,
I know what you're talking about. It's the meth addict.
How do you not know that your guy is gay? I mean, I'm not bashing gays at all for any means. I have tons of gay friends. I mean, they all have hot tubs out here. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, how do you not know that your pastor is a flamer?
I know.
Just praise Jesus. That's the one thing we've got to talk about the Lord. Hey, and you got to be like, sweetie, or not.
Exactly. I don't know how they don't understand it either. And then when they deny, what was his name? Ted something or other, I think, right?
Ted Takenbutsky.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. The guy was doing meth and getting blasted by strippers.
Well, I could care almost less about the preacher aspect.
For his wife. Did you see his wife's face when people rolled up in the camera? So, are you still taking meth and getting laid by gay guys? And his wife was just going, I don't want to be here. You can hear it in her head,
Meanwhile, she looks like she was on like the original episodes of Lassie. She's dressed that way. She's got like the same haircut. It's nuts.
She's probably on meth. She probably went in his sock drawer or something. It's insane.
It is insane. But what's sicker is that it's not just these, high-level preachers. It's, people in government. And when you bring it over to the L.A. thing, I mean, people like Poppy Bush's name were thrown around. There seemed to be a lot of evidence there. And then you find out that they're members of these clubs that a lot of these kids talked about, the Bohemian Club and all this other stuff, and that these Christian conservatives, supposedly, are into the occult. And really, this is what had me just, tumble down the rabbit hole into me doing radio shows like this. It was even more than 9/11. It was more than world government. I'm like, so you're telling me the people at the top basically want to chip everybody, control everybody, enslave everybody, and rape children?
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold for your IRA? The financial industry refuses to recognize the value of real hard assets for your retirement. The truth be told, gold and silver has outperformed paper investments like stocks, bonds, and CDs, yet no word about IRAs. Perhaps the financial institutions want to maintain control of your assets by keeping you in paper. If you'd like to take a look at gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low return on your paper investments. Call 800-686-2237. Make sure that you secure your future. Call 800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.